Welcome everyone back to another video. I hope you are all doing well for today's video. We are going to be talking about who's really stronger out of Gingka and Ryuga. Now, this is just a fun idea I came up with for the channel, and it's all just for fun. Nothing is right, just to clarify. It's just fun imagination. So right, first off, we're going to be looking at who has more wins out of 3 seasons and losses. They had two, so I'm going to break down off medal fight and then add up the total. I had to rewatch a few episodes again just to get an idea so I can try correct the total as much as I can. Then after I've added the total of wins, then we are going to be looking at who mastered their Bey the best. And then finally, I'm going to try do my best to compare the power differences between El Drago and Pegasus. So right, let's get into the first part. Now, I'll start with who had more wins out of Gingka and Ryuga in Metal Fusion. So far, we'll start with Gingka. Gingka, his total wins out of Metal Fusion was 17 wins and 5 losses. I'll put it up on screen here. That's Gingka's total for Metal Fusion. Now we'll look at Ryuga's total. Ryuga had 11 wins and 1 loss. Now, I reckon Ryuga could have had way more, but he didn't get to see him battle as much on screen like we did with Gingka. But that's the only reason Gingka had more wins. But we know Ryuga is super strong, though. Now, let's keep digging as we move in onto Metal Masters. Now, I know Gingka and Ryuga got wins against random opponents, but I kind of want to focus on actual bladers with avatars and actual power. Right, now we'll look at Metal Masters. So for Gingka, he had 10 wins and 3 losses, and Ryuga, he had only 2 wins but 0 losses. But once again, we didn't see him battle enough in Metal Masters, but he easily could have gotten a lot more wins. Right, so now we'll look at Metal Fury, then I'll add up the total all together. Right, so moving on to Metal Fury, with Gingka, he had 7 wins and 2 losses, and for Ryuga, actually, he had 7 wins as well, tying with Gingka and Metal Fury, and Ryuga had 1 loss as well. I'll add up the grand total for Gingka. His grand total of losses and wins are 34 wins and 10 losses throughout the Metal Saga. Pretty good. That's honestly not bad at all. That's pretty good. Now for Ryuga, total up of his wins are 20 wins and 2 losses. Also pretty good as well. Now, if you want to, you could add the wins from random bladers that they got, but personally, once again, I just wanted to focus on actual bladers with real power. But as I said, if you want to add on those wins they got from random bladers, totally fine, or if not, totally fine either way. Let me know in the comments. With that, we've looked at their win and loss stats. I think I'm going to say it's pretty even competition out of them two for this one. Gingka had more wins than Ryuga, but Ryuga had less losses than Gingka, so I think it's pretty even for this one. Now, we know Ryuga did beat Gingka twice out of the Metal Saga, and Gingka only won once against him, but Gingka defeated Ryuga with the full-on dark power back in Metal Fusion. So I think that's still an absolute W victory to Gingka for sure. Right, moving on next, we'll look at who mastered their Bey the best. Right, we'll start off with Metal Fusion. I reckon in Metal Fusion, to be honest, Gingka and Ryuga both had it pretty under control. Like, if we look at how they use their special moves, they both mastered them really well, but till the end of Metal Fusion, Ryuga was actually the one that lost control of the dark power, and that's actually how he lost to Gingka. But then again, the dark power could have been too powerful that Gingka could have got absolutely crushed to bits as well. But looking at who mastered their Bey the best out of Metal Fusion, I will give this one to Gingka. If Ryuga didn't lose his control of the dark power at the end, I probably could have put them in a tie. Also, to mention, my bad, I forgot the battle where Gingka went rage and lost control for the first time when Ryuga and Gingka battled for the first time. So honestly, I'm going to give them a tie for Metal Fusion. They both lost control with their bays at some point of Metal Fusion. As I mentioned, right, next we'll look at Metal Masters. First off, we'll start with Gingka. Now, Gingka had to get a new Beyblade that was set in Coma Village. That was Galaxy Pegasus. Now, when Gingka battled for the first time with Galaxy Pegasus, he obviously didn't have a lot of control when he was battling against Masamune. I could tell Gingka was having a hard time trying to master Galaxy Pegasus at first, and he actually did eventually get the hang of Galaxy Pegasus, but it definitely did take him a bit of time to actually master the Bey in the special move. Now, Ryuga's backstory is actually interesting in Metal Masters. So now we'll look at his side. Now, Ryuga said he got his hands on a new power when he was introduced in the first episode of Metal Masters for him for the first time. But Ryuga said he got his hands on a new power that's not the dark power, and he said he became one with El Drago, and that was the Cosmos power. I think I said that right. So I reckon Ryuga showed a pretty good backstory of how he mastered his new Beyblade, and Gingka, even though it took him a bit of time to when Gingka was creating his new special move, I could really tell that Gingka was in sync as well so far. Again, they have done an interesting job on mastering their Bey, a good job on mastering their Bey, sorry. Good job of mastering their Beys, but I reckon Ryuga had more control first try around as Gingka, he took a little bit longer attempts, but then who knows, maybe Ryuga took a little bit longer as well, but I think Ryuga managed to do it first time around. And one last thing that I can look at, now Gingka and Ryuga did battle in Metal Masters for a short bit on screen, and honestly, from watching that battle, I think Ryuga and Meteor El Drago was a lot more stronger than Galaxy Pegasus, just in my opinion. Just from me rewatching the battle, I think Ryuga was going to win that battle, and he said to Gingka, you still haven't mastered the power of your Bey, which could be true, but to be honest, I think Gingka has done a good job by the time they battled Ryuga in Metal Masters, but Ryuga was going to come out on top for sure. So out of Metal Masters, I reckon Ryuga had more control for this one. Just from watching them battle, I will give this one to Ryuga. Right, now moving on to Metal Fury. Now with Metal Fury, that's when Gingka and Ryuga became legendary bladers, and I know Gingka and Ryuga actually did battle really early in Metal Fury, and I could already tell Ryuga had a lot more control over El Drago Destructor than Gingka did with Cosmic Pegasus. It definitely took Gingka even more longer than he did in Metal Masters to actually master his Bey properly and to come up with a special move to, like, as at the beginning of the video, Ryuga was on a more of a winning streak in Metal Fury than Gingka was. But then looking at Metal Fury, I think Ryuga had a lot more control of his Bey and power. So once again, I am going to give this one to Ryuga only because I could see Ryuga just had that a lot more control in his battle against Gingka, and Gingka did have to take more time to actually get it together. So yeah, I am going to say Ryuga on this one, but if any of you thought Gingka or Ryuga had more master of the control in the battles, do definitely let me know in the comments, as I would like to have a look and read them, as I always enjoy reading your comments and what you guys have to say. So for sure, let me know. By the way, just to let you all know, this is not a hate video on Gingka, as Gingka is still a really strong blader, and Gingka is not a lot worse than Ryuga or any means like that. As I said, they are even in most things, but to be honest, I really enjoyed the battle with when Gingka battled Ryuga with Cosmic Pegasus and Ryuga and El Drago Destructor. I think Gingka put up a really good fight, especially with all the different mode changes in that. But Ryuga did have more control first with his Bey, which is all I'm saying, to be honest. So it's totally nothing bad to Gingka, but I just had to be honest. But as I said, all of my theories are just for fun. As I said, nothing is right at all. This is all just a fun imagination theory video that I've come up with, so just to remember that as well. Right, for the last part of the video, we'll look at their power differences. So first off, Gingka had the power of the legendary horse, and Ryuga had the power of the dragon. Legendary dragon. Now, with Ryuga, he could absorb power, and obviously Gingka couldn't. Now, that is already a big advantage for Ryuga. Now, he also had left rotation as well, and I guess Gingka had right rotation. I don't know if left rotation makes a power difference or not, but anyway, Gingka and Ryuga both had mode changes in Metal Fury, and both of the performance tips changed as well. Now, I reckon Dark Ryuga was a really strong peak for him, and Gingka didn't have a lot, only mode change and special moves, but honestly, I would say their power is pretty even. Maybe Ryuga is a bit more stronger. Gingka did have more special moves than Ryuga, so imagine if Gingka decided, alright, I'll use this special move. Out of his 5 special moves that he created throughout the Metal Saga, and him and Ryuga had a full-on completed battle with completed special moves and throughout the Metal Saga, and they had a full-on battle. And imagine Gingka uses that special move and Ryuga uses his special move out of any of the special moves they created throughout the Metal Saga. That would have been epic to see. Right, now that is going to be an end on today's video. I hope you all enjoyed me talking about this, as I really did try my best effort to put into this video for you all, and I know it took me a while to finish, but I had to take my time. Let me know in the comments who's stronger out of Gingka and Ryuga, as I would love to read and reply to you all. Thank you so much for watching, as I definitely had a lot of fun doing this for you all, and I'll be sure to have my next video coming soon. So for now, take care everyone, and I'll catch you later.